Hi grade 9s, hope you're all well today. Welcome back to WorksheetCloud Maths, and we're going to carry on today with the next lesson in functions and relations. Okay, so today is our third lesson, and we're going to look at how to put into practice what we've learned of how to put a formula together. Okay, let's have a look what I'm talking about. Okay, we're going to look at a problem, and Taylor makes necklaces using dark blue beads and light blue beads. She arranges them in a certain pattern. Okay, that is our problem, and we're going to have a look. There we go. There's the first pattern. You can see the dark blue beads and then the light blue beads. So let's count them. You can see straight away that there's two dark blue beads, but if we have a look at the light blue beads, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, next one, we've got 4 dark blue beads, and we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 light blue beads. Okay, and there's one little light blue bead hanging around here, but I think it's going to be part of the next pattern, and there we go. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. How many light blue beads? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. So what we can do is we can put this information into a table, and there we go. There's your table. Dark blue beads would be X, your X value. The light blue beads, your Y value. Okay, with 2 dark blue beads we have 7 light blue beads. With 4 dark blue beads we have 13 light blue beads, and with 7 dark blue beads we have 22 light blue beads. Okay, so what we would do next, let's have a look. We would then change this, or not change it, but we would use what's in our table, and we will come up with this formula. How did we get this formula? We went the change in Y over the change in X. What is the change in Y again? It's the difference between the numbers in Y, okay, the values in Y. So what did we do to get from 7 to 13? We added on 6. Remember, if this number decreases, then that would be a minus 6. Okay, from 13 to 22, we added on 9. Again, if it was negative, if it had gone down, we would write minus 9. But in both cases, they've gone up. We've added on, so they are positive 6 and positive 9. We've now got to look at our X values and see how those have changed. So from 2 to 4, we've added on 2. And from 4 to 7, we've added on 3. What do we do? These are fractions, so simplify the fractions, and the answer is 3, because it would be 3 over 1 and 3 over 1, okay, because we would simplify. So we're bringing in our knowledge of fractions here to find out what our m value is. So we're going to use the structure y is equal to mx plus b, and remember the change in y over the change in x gives us our m value. Okay, so we end up with y is equal to 3x plus b. We now have to plug in a formula, or an ordered pair rather, into the formula. So we can use 2 and 7. We can also use 4 and 13 and 7 and 22. It would all work exactly the same way. We would come up with the same answer. Remember, that is our formula that we figured out. We now need to just prove it. Okay, so we're going to plug in 7 and 2. Remember, 7 is your y value, so 7 is equal to 3 times 2 plus b. We're going to end up with 7 is equal to 6 plus b. Take your 6 across to the other side of the equal sign. 7 minus 6 equals b, which means b is equal to 1. So as the formula came up there, that's how we would work it out. So y is equal to 3x plus 1. Okay, the next step is probably going to work out how many either dark blue beads we need if we are given the number of light blue beads, or how many light blue beads we need when we are given the number of dark blue beads. Now that we have our formula, it is easy to work out. So there again is the pattern. Okay, we know that our formula is y is equal to 3x plus 1. And we need to work out how many light blue beads would be needed if she used 25 dark blue beads, and how many dark blue beads would be needed if she had 100 light blue beads. Let's see. Okay, so the first one, number 1, we have to work out how many light blue beads are needed. The light blue beads are your Y value. So 25 dark blue beads, that would be your X value, and we plug it into the formula. Y is equal to 3 times 25 plus 1. So Y is equal to 75 plus 1, therefore Y is equal to 76. So she needs 76 light blue beads. Everybody happy with that? I think the most important thing is once you've got your formula, you can actually work with it in any way you are asked to. It's to get that formula correct. Okay, the next one is how many dark blue beads would be needed if she had 100 light blue beads. So your 100 now is your Y value. So we're going to plug it into the formula. 100 is equal to 3x plus 1. We are now going to try and work out what x is because that is the dark blue beads. Okay, so it would be 100 minus 1 because you take that one across the equal sign. It's 99 divided by 3 because you have to do the inverse operation. And 3x is 3 times x, so you would divide by 3. You end up with 33 as being x, so she would need 33 dark blue beads. Okay, everybody happy with that? As I said just now, your most important thing here is working out the correct formula. After that, it's just easy sticks. Okay, you just carry on and plug into your formula and work out the equation. Okay, let's look at another one, a new problem. Here we have blocks, and those ones around the blocks, that's block number 1, but the numbers around the block are the units of the perimeter. So for this one, we would say the perimeter would be 4 because there are 4 units. Let's have a look. There's a new diagram with 3 blocks in it, another one with 6 blocks in it, and another one. Let's count the blocks quickly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, the first thing to do would probably, we want to work out the correlation between the number of blocks and the perimeter of the shape. If each side of a block is 1 unit, look at the example of the first block, as you can see there, and we've been over that. So the first thing to do, as I was starting to say just now, is to put in a table. So to work out what would go in the table. Okay, so set up a table to show the correlation. And there we have a table. The blocks, the number of blocks on the top, like that one, there's 1 blue block. That would be your X value. So the next one, there's 3 blue blocks, then 6 blue blocks, then 10 blue blocks. Okay? Then we would have to work out the perimeter. And remember, we can't count these ones because those ones are not part of the perimeter. The perimeter goes around the outside. You all know that. So, and each side is 1 unit. So for the second one, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay? The first one we had 4, so the first block is 4. The second one where 3 blocks are together, your perimeter is 8. The next one where 6 blocks are together here, your perimeter is 14. And where 10 blocks are together, your perimeter is 22. Just pause the video and you double check that I am right. Make sure that you count around the perimeter. Remember, each block or each side of a block is 1 unit. So what we're saying here is that when there are 10 blocks, there are 22 units that make up the perimeter. So pause the video and you count, making sure that I'm 100% correct, and then we will go on. Right, let's have a look at the next step. Okay, the next step is from the table now to work out the formula using the structure y is equal to mx plus b. Okay, so there's our table, there's our blocks again, just so that we can refer to them. There's our table. The first thing we do is we look at the change in y over the change in x. So we look at the change in y. We've added 4, there we've added 6, there we've added 8. Here we've added 2, there we've added 3, and there we've added 10. So 4 to 8 is 4, 8 to 14 is 6, 14 to 22 is 8. Okay, that's for your y value. Now your x value, you're going to look at the blocks, the number of blocks. 1 to 3 is 2, 3 to 6 is 3, and 6 to 10 is 4. Okay, right? So we've got the change in y over the change in x. Like I said, these are fractions. So now we simplify the fractions. 2 goes into 4 twice, so this change is 2. 3 goes into 6 twice, so this changes also to 4 goes into 8 twice, so this changes to. So your answer is 2. What value does that give you? It gives you the m value. So it would be y is equal to 2x plus b, because we've changed the m value to the 2, which is what we've worked out here. Right, we now have to work out b value, or the value of b, so we're going to plug in. And we're going to plug it into our y is equal to 2x plus b, and we will use the first ordered pair. Okay, remember I told you in the last lesson, these two create an ordered pair. Okay, y is equal to 2x plus b, we've used the first one, so it's 4 is equal to 2 times 1 plus b. We're going to get 4 is equal to 2 plus b. We take the 2 across to the other side of the equal sign. It's 4 minus 2 is equal to b, so b is equal to 2. What is your formula? Y is equal to 2x plus 2. You all see that? We've worked out the 2 here. This 2 is from your change in y over your change in x. We then plugged in the first set of ordered pairs, and we worked out that b is 2. We now have a formula. This is the hardest part, guys, to work out, the most challenging part to work out. We've now got that, and we can now work with that. So there's our formula. There's our table. We don't really need to look back at the diagram anymore. We can now work out what would the perimeter of 28 such blocks be, and how many blocks would there be if the perimeter was 150. Okay, now remember, your blocks are your x value, and the perimeter would be the y value. So, number 1, we're going to use our formula y is equal to 2x plus 2, and we're going to plug in what we know. We've got 28 blocks, which is our x value. We're going to work out the perimeter. So we would go y is equal to 2 times 28 plus 2. Okay, everybody happy with that? Okay, y is then equal to 56, because 2 times 28 is 56, plus 2. Y is equal to 58, so the perimeter would be 58 units. Remember, it didn't give us an actual measurement, didn't give us centimeters, millimeters, meters. It just said that there were 1 unit each around the outside of the block. So the perimeter, if we were used 28 blocks, the perimeter would be 58 units. Right, let's go on and let's work out how many blocks we would need if the perimeter was 150. So this time your y value is given, and you need to work out your x value. Okay, so 150 is equal to 2x plus 2, because we know what the formula is. We're now going to go 150 minus 2 is equal to 2x. 148 is equal to 2x. We now divide the 148 by 2, and we end up with 74x. And what would that be? We would need 74 blocks if we had a perimeter of 150. Okay, see how it works? There's one now for you to do. You need to try this one. I'm going to give you all the information. You need to pause the video. You need to try to work it out from scratch, and then we will go over it together. So the first thing you need to know is the pattern. There's your diagram. Okay, lovely little red hearts. Sorry boys, but these are lovely little red hearts for the girls. Okay, so what you need to do is, the first thing you need to do is you need to draw a table showing the number of the diagram in relation to the number of hearts. So that would be the number of the diagram. Obviously that's the number of hearts. So the diagrams are not in sequence. We've left out number 3, we've left out 5 and 6. Okay, so first of all you need to draw up the table showing the number of the diagram in relation to the number of hearts. After that, you need to work out the formula. Then you need to work out how many hearts would be in diagram number 20. And you need to work out what number the diagram would be if you have 202 hearts. Okay, pause the video. You go over this on your own. You try and work it out from beginning to end, and then we'll go over it together. Right, let's go over it together. Okay, so there's our diagram. We now need to formulate a table. So the first thing we would do is say, diagram 1, I've got 3 hearts. Diagram 2, I've got 3, 4, 5, 6 hearts. Diagram 4, I've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 hearts. And in diagram 7, I've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 21 hearts in diagram 7. So let's put that into our table. Okay, there we go. There's our table. We've counted the number of hearts. That's the number of the diagram. Remember, that's the number of the hearts in each diagram. Okay, so the first question was, draw up a table showing the number of the diagram in relation to the number of hearts. If that is the only thing your question asks, you then move on. Don't go and work out the formula unless you are asked to do it. And in this case, you were asked to do it. So that is the next step in this problem. Okay, you now need to work out the formula. So what are we going to do? We're going to look in at the change in y over the change in x. Okay, so our change in y would be increase by 3, increase by 6, increase by 9. And the change in x would be increase in 1, increase by 2, increase by 3. Okay, you're not looking at the number of the diagram. You're looking at the change in the value. Okay, so our change in y, 3 over our change in x is 1, then 6 and 2 and 3 and 9. Remember, these are fractions, so simplify them, and in each case we will get an answer of 3. What does that 3 give us? It gives us our m value. So we use the formula or the structure y is equal to mx plus b. We've now got our m value is 3. How do we get that? Looking at the change in y over the change in x and simplifying those fractions. All right, so now we've got our m value. Let's go on, and we're going to plug in a set of ordered pairs and to find out what our b value is. So we're going to use the first one. Like I've said to you before, you can use any one. You can use the first one or the second one or the last one. It doesn't matter. It's all going to work out. So you've got 3 is equal to 3 times 1 plus b. Remember, that 3 comes from your y. That 1 comes from there, okay, from your x. Okay, so you're going to end up with 3 is equal to 3 plus b. Right, we're going to go 3. That is wrong. It's 3 minus 3 is equal to b, and that means that b is equal to 0. Okay, so that means that when we work out our formula, it's going to be y is equal to 3b. You can put in plus 0 if you would like, but actually it's fine. Y is equal to, 3x plus 0. Okay, y is equal to actually just 3x. Right, let's go on from there. What was the second thing that you needed to do? You needed to now work out how many hearts would be in diagram 20. Okay, you've now got your formula is y is equal to 3x. Remember, we can add on the 0, or we don't have to, because it's not going to make any difference to our overall calculation. So let's plug it in. We've now got y is equal to 3 times 20, because remember, we're working out the number of hearts in diagram 20. Okay, so y is then equal to 60, which means that there would be 60 hearts in diagram 20. Okay, everybody happy with that? Remember, that is quite okay. We don't have to have a plus or a minus after the 3x. If it is just every time we have a y value, we're going to make it 3 times bigger. Okay, let's look at the last one. Number 4, what do you need to do to work out what number diagram would have 202 hearts in it? Okay, now here there's going to be a little bit of a problem, but don't worry, I will explain it to you. So your formula is y is equal to 3x. Remember, we can put on the plus 0 or we don't have to. It's absolutely fine and totally up to you. Okay, we are now going to plug in, because we have our y value, which is 202 is equal to 3x. We then have to say 202 divided by 3. Okay, I'm not too sure why that repeated itself. I'm so sorry about that, grade 8. Right, sorry, grade 9s. I'm getting totally confused today. Right, 202 divided by 3, that would give us 67,3. Okay, now we're trying to work out the number of diagrams. So we're going to have hearts left over, and that's why I said we're not going to have 67,3 diagram, number 67,3. It would then be in diagram 67, we would actually use 201 hearts, so we would have a heart left over that would probably go into diagram 68. So just be careful, it's not always going to work out exactly, and that's what I was saying just now. It's absolutely fine if we've got left over. We're going to round it off to the nearest whole number. In fact, we will round it down, because it doesn't matter that we've got extra hearts, and in this case 1 extra heart, okay? We cannot form another diagram with this same pattern, so we have to have 1 left over. We rounded it down to 67, okay? Everybody happy with that? All right. Now, the next thing is that you're going to end up doing your activity with the same kind of patterns. And if there's any problem at all, then please don't forget to email grade9@worksheetcloud.com and somebody will get back to you with your query. Thank you so much for listening today. Good luck with your activity, and I will see you in the next lesson. Have a wonderful day further. Thank you guys. Bye bye for now.